Good afternoon. I'll call to order the River Trust for, when is this, September 25th to order. Welcome everybody here. Items from the chairman. I think we have an update on the Land Use Committee. Kathy, is that correct?
Yes, you do. The Land Use Committee met earlier today, and we discussed the resolution where the Oklahoma City Boathouse Foundation would be the designated operator for the MAPS 3 Whitewater facility. And after discussion, we voted to approve that resolution.
Okay.
So
there's also
Land Use Committee.
Right. There's also a resolution later on in the docket, and there's also a resolution today at the MAPS 3 River Trust meeting. So it's probably moving very quickly. That's what it looks like. So your committee recommended approval,
yes, we
is that
do.
correct? Okay, thank you. Is there any other committees that had any meetings that need to report on anything? I'm not aware of any, but thank you. We will receive the report from the committee, please. Need a motion? So moved. Been moved and seconded. Are there any comments? As I said, there's a resolution later on that any additional comments you want also. It's approved unanimously. Thank you. Item B, update on MAPS 3 Oklahoma River subcommittee activity. I don't know of anything additional other than what we have, so there's no need for that one. Next item is the meeting minutes of August 28th, which are in your packet. Move approval.
Second.
Does anybody have any corrections or additions to those minutes? We have a motion, second, record your vote. It's approved unanimously. Thank you. Next is the consent docket, which is received the sand mining and oil and gas revenue report and Oklahoma River corridor events update.
Move approval of both items.
Been moved and seconded. Any comments, questions? Record your vote. It's approved unanimously. Primary agenda items to receive the Oklahoma River maintenance projects update. Who's doing that? You doing that?
I'll be glad to do that, Mr. Chairman. You do have a report in your packet under item 5A. Looks like that we have done some work on the Brum Dam and on the Eastern Dam this past month, and also began work on the removal of sediment from the sedimentation basin. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to respond, or Paul Bronson, Assistant Public Works Director, is here, and he can respond as well.
Okay.
I would just say it looks absolutely beautiful finally. It's so nice to have water all the way through it. Just
good, thank you.
Shiningly beautiful.
Paul, do you have anything you need to add? You don't have to, but if you want to, you're welcome.
I'm sorry, I ran a little late. I didn't hear the beginning of the conversation. As Dennis said, we did install the 6 hydraulic cylinders over on the Brum Dam a couple weeks ago, and we completed the clean out of the hydraulic power unit yesterday. We do not have the hydraulic lines attached yet to the 6 cylinders. That's going to happen later this week, and then the dam will be fully functional again. The Eastern Avenue Dam, we pulled the hydraulic cylinders September 18th. They're at the shop right now. They're pulling them apart, taking a look at them to see what type of rehab we've got to do on those. We're in the process of getting bids for the HP unit on Eastern Dam and sedimentation basin maintenance. They've submitted their first invoice on their dredging operations. They had a little bit easier going when the river was down, but now that we've got water in the river, they actually bought a dredging machine this time around, so they're actually getting to use their new dredging machine as to be able to do it, as opposed to be able to do it in the past with excavators. So apparently everything's going along pretty well on that operation. So.
Whenever we take the Eastern Basin down this winter, will there be any sediment removed there, or is there any need for any?
We will look at all 3 of the dams and see if occasionally we have sediment build up near the lock gates that we have to do some spot sediment removal.
Right.
Part of our contractor's contract provides for some of that removal, but just last year, the Public Works Department actually bought a boat that has a little clamshell attachment on it, so if it's just a minor amount of dredging, we can actually do that in-house now. So,
Okay, good.
Okay.
The next item is the receive report of Oklahoma River Cruiser Maintenance Building. Do you want to, just, was that Rick? Or?
That's
This is show and
Yeah,
tell.
well, okay, just a second. Let me go back to the other one then. We need a motion then to receive the report from Paul. Been moved and seconded. Discussion? Any additional? For your vote? It's approved unanimously. Okay, Jeannie.
Okay, I just wanted to show you some renderings. Now, these renderings of the building that we did just discover yesterday, that we won't be able to put that curvature to the roof, but this, it would not meet Scenic River Overlay Design Committee rules. But this is basically what the building will look like. Just imagine it without the curve. And there we go. And there it is from another angle. The large garage door, of course, is for pulling a boat in with our trailer, and with parking facilities, and that white building to the right there is the OU Boathouse. As an alternate, we are going to try to get this built also. It's a gazebo. It's lighted, and it's for our waiting passengers to stay out of the weather while they wait for the boats. It has a view of the dock area so they can see the boats when they come in. This is the site plan. The OU Boathouse is there at the top in the parking lot, and then our building with the parking area. And it's built far enough back to even put another boat on a trailer right in front of it in that drive area. This is the interior layout. It has a workroom for staff to equip the boats. Then there's a storage area, a secure storage area, which will be able licensed for storage of all sorts of concessions and even some supplies. Then there's the restrooms, an office, and a shop area. Then the large area in the front, of course, is the maintenance bay with the drainage for power washing and painting and major maintenance of the boats. This is the trailer that we're currently having constructed. This is a hydraulic trailer. It's designed to be able to pull the boat from the river and then either set it on blocks or set it inside the building. Or in some cases, we may just want to pull it out to change out some props. These are things that we used to either use a commercial crane, $12,000 cost there, plus all the equipment needed to do the work. Or divers, commercial divers. We frequently have to use divers at least every other month to go down and change out props that hit debris in the river. And with this trailer, we'll just be able to pull it up, get them changed, and put it back in. So we're very excited about having that coming. And that will be coming in next spring. The building should be completed by the end of next summer. And that's, and one other item. Mark Fernandez has been promoted by HMS Global Maritime. He's now running the St. John's Ferry and is part of the management team for all the HMS ferry systems in the United States. And as his replacement, we have Jerry Loika. Jerry recently retired from the Midwest City Fire Department. He's been one of our boat captains since about 2009, I believe, maybe 2010. He's had his Coast Guard license. He's also a sailing instructor, and we're very pleased to have him. And if you get a chance, I'd appreciate if you welcome him on board.
Well, Jerry, welcome. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Any
I've
questions?
known Jerry for a long time, and if he's as good a captain as he is a fireman, we're in good hands down there. So, I did have one question for Jeannie. This trailer, is that going to come in and out of the house down to the water, or is you're going to have a truck to pull it to get it on a regular ramp? How's it going to operate?
A front loader. We use a front loader to...
You're going to have a big truck to pull the trailer off the ramp. Or down
A tractor of sorts, a front loader. It has the ability to raise and lower the front of the trailer, because that's quite a steep angle that we have to go over. Okay. And the extension into the river, most of these ramps, they tell me, drop off about 6 inches. Ours drops off about 3 feet. Okay. So this trailer has to be able to get down far enough to get the boat to the bottom of the trailer. Then there's an 18.5-ton winch that's attached to a bow hook, which we'll be installing on the boats, and that'll pull the boat further onto the trailer, and then the front loader will then put it into the building or just pull it up the ramp.
Okay,
We're very excited about getting to do this, yeah.
okay. Do we have the loader, or is that part of this purchase here?
No, we do not. We have located a source where we can very economically rent a front loader just for the duration of each project, and it's minimal cost.
Anything? Any other questions?
Do we have this trailer now, this piece of equipment?
No, it
And
won't
who's
be.
paying for it? I mean, it looks like it's very expensive.
It's $132,500, and it's coming from federal grant funds.
Oh, okay.
Well, we thank the feds.
We do.
Yeah, none of us paid for that, did we?
I know.
Well, sort of. 53% did. Is that right, or something?
That's
Excuse me, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that. That was just off the record. Off the record.
I just had a question about the curvature of the building, and you said we can't do it because it hadn't gone or did not comply with River Trust design. It hadn't even come to River Trust design group yet, correct?
Well, it's under a 3,500 square foot building, so it was under administrative review. However, the material that does curve has a 1.5 to 2 inch seam that rises out of the top of it. That doesn't pass. It needs to be a flat metal panel. Well, the flat metal panels would either require a plywood substrate to support them, or they just can't curve. They can't curve. So in order to get the flat metal surface that we need to meet the scenic river guidelines, there's just not a material made that will curve to do that that's flat.
You know, early on the design review, there were concerns from some of us, and Paul chairs that as we get into some of this with the boathouse district, with some of this, that we can have things that aren't not traditional in terms of building construction and all. So I don't know whether it's important enough that you bring it back and you ask that to be considered or not, but I would just hope that we don't hold so rigid to something in traditional building construction that we don't take advantage of some of the opportunities that might come about on the boathouse review. I mean, there were concerns early on with some of what Mike's doing and other ones are doing that it might not fit some of what that original criteria was.
You might want to visit with Scotty about that, because there are items that we can look at individually that are on the administrative review that they approve themselves, but it's something like that in that area. So as far as what Brian was saying, it may not get approved, but we'd have to look at the actual regs and see if we can get around it.
Yeah, Scotty's the one who I work with on administrative review, and she's the one that brought it to our attention, and she actually suggested some other materials, and we looked into those other materials, and if it was even possible to be able to curve those and be able to meet our needs, we could. But apparently, and I'm not a structural engineer by any stretch, to be able to do a curve like that, you need substantial strength, and that requires that 2-inch raised seam.
Okay.
It'll be beautiful. We're meeting Wednesday with the planning department. The 1% art contribution, we're meeting with them on Wednesday because we want to do something special there too.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments, questions? Need a motion to receive the report then?
So moved.
Been moved and second. Record your vote. It's approved unanimously. Thank you. Next item C, receive report for the quarterly meeting of Oklahoma River Stakeholder Group. Pat, I know there's a written report. Do you have any particular comments you'd like to make?
Nothing to add other than we did have a pretty full boat and a good crew. We had a couple of folks from the River Trust that came along, as well as city staff and others. And if there are any questions about the meeting, be happy to address them. Otherwise, just request that the report be received as submitted.
Okay, any questions from any of the trustees? Yeah, Larry.
Pat, just one. As I've observed what's happened with the stakeholder group as time has marched on, are we really reaching the people, and are the ones that we're supposed to reach coming to those stakeholder meetings? Are you satisfied with the makeup and the enthusiasm and the vision of them?
What we've found is that it varies from meeting topic to meeting topic. We have some topics that we send out the same notice to the same general stakeholder group, and it's certainly not a closed group. As we identify new folks that are interested or potentially interested, we try to bring them into the fold. Some topics, quite frankly, that are in focus are of greater general interest than others. So we see some meetings where we have 30, 40 people, and the very next session we may have 15. And I don't know, other than just coincidence of timing and then perhaps the interest level in whatever topic we're covering. But I think in general we're reaching a broader spectrum than what we had started with, and I think that the key to success of this is to keep it fresh and to keep the group growing as we identify others that are interested in a particular area of the river or in a particular venue or a particular activity.
Any other questions? Need a motion to receive the report then? Been moved and seconded. Approved unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is to adopt a resolution nominating Don Casbright to fill the unexpired term of Wayne Stone, who had requested to be removed from the committee, which I honored, and that's from the Riverfront Design Committee, and so it takes a resolution to do that. You want
Let me
Wayne?
just mention that I found that this was a huge time conflict for me. I was only able to attend like 4 out of 5 meetings, and that's my sole reason for my submitting my resignation. Need somebody that has a little more flexibility of time. Just 9 o'clock Thursday morning seemed to hit me bad every time.
Okay, thank you. So moved. Is there a second? Been moved and seconded. Record your vote. It's approved unanimously. Item E is the resolution that I mentioned earlier that Kathy's committee had reviewed and recommended. Any comments that anybody might have on that? I know it's also before the maps oversight river today also, and I assume will be coming to council right after that or shortly after that. Anybody have any comments on that?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Please record your vote. It's approved unanimously. Thank you. Item F is recommend Oklahoma City Council approve a revocable permit for Running Dirty LLC for the Ultimate Mud Warrior 5K and 10K run, November 3rd, 2012. I think that's Mr. Skeen. Yeah. Who on the trustees are planning on participating? I'm just out of curiosity. Yeah. If I do it, will you?
It's a walk also.
Is a walk also?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Larry. Okay.
What we're proposing is to permit part of the city property just south of our property, which is located at 3501 Northeast 10th. Just to the south of our entrance and back to the west, there's an entrance to the city property that we propose to use for overflow parking. If we use that part of the property for overflow parking, the athletes and spectators will walk to the east along the river corridor and then under 10th Street. No one will be crossing 10th Street. There won't be any. We're not going to use traffic barricades or the need for those because everyone's going to walk around to the north and to our property. The run will exit our property at a gate that we're going to put in at our expense and enter back onto our property at another gate. And then we want to utilize the river corridor north of 10th Street for the actual run, which will be the river sands and the river water. If there's a rain event and the river is flowing faster than it's flowing now, we'll divert the running tape and keep folks out of the river. Right now the water's running at barely over a knot probably. Any faster than that, and we'll move them out of there and just run them into the sands of the river that are always there, or the grassland that is next to the river.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Need a motion then, please?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Record your vote. It's approved unanimously. Thank you, Larry. Appreciate it. Item G, recommend City Council approve a revocable permit for the Oklahoma City Events and Entertainment LLC for the Holiday Boat Parade and Festival, November 23rd.
Move approval.
Been moved and seconded. Any questions? Record your vote. It's approved unanimously. Thank you, Mike. Item 7A would be claims docket.
Move approval.
Been moved and seconded. Anybody have any questions on that? Record your vote. It's approved unanimously. Thank you. Additional items is the director's report, Director of Development. I know it's a written report, but do you have anything you want to
Just a
elaborate on?
A couple of highlights, Mr. Chairman. One is that the Compass Rose project is moving along well, thanks to some good cooperation with Public Works, the Planning Department, and the artist and himself. We are anticipating a dedication and unveiling this spring that will culminate in some activities in conjunction with one of the rowing regattas. So we're very pleased with the progress there. The permit that you just approved for the boat parade this year, Mr. McAuliffe would tell you that we are already ahead of where we have been in years past at this point in terms of the number of boats that are entered. That's an important indication that I think there's some excitement this year, and so we're very pleased at that. And then I would also point out that we have received indication that both the University of Oklahoma and University of Central Oklahoma boathouse projects are moving ahead at a really pretty quick pace, and I think the UCO project perhaps will be the first to be considered by this body, probably, at least in a preliminary sense, before the end of the year. If there's any questions, comments, be happy to address them. Otherwise, would request that the report be received as submitted.
Any questions of Pat?
Move approval.
Any questions? Record your vote. It's approved unanimously.
Thank you.
Any items from trustees? Any special thing? Any issues? Anything by citizens? Mike?
I think everyone probably has received the information, but we have the big event this weekend, the Oklahoma Regatta Festival, and I think once again it's probably going to be one of the largest we've had so far. We've got about 800 entries. Clemson, this is new this year, UMass, Harvard, Stanford, and then many other teams. We also have the new Paddle for the Cure, which is new. We've got over 300 cancer survivors and supporters that will be paddling, and 50-plus corporate teams. So it's going to be a busy weekend. And we also have, we'll have night racing Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night. And then the Blue Party is Saturday night this year, which is different because of the Civic Center celebration. So should be a good weekend, and hope to see you there. And the one other thing I would mention is I just returned from Rome because they had the World Championship for Canoe Marathon, which we're hosting in 2014. And there were over 40 countries and about 1,000 athletes participating. And while it may seem like it's difficult to compete with some of the sites that they enjoyed in Rome, people are very enthusiastic about coming to Oklahoma City, and I think we're going to have a good turnout, a lot of intrigue. They've never had that event in America, so we're gearing up. And next year we will have a World Cup kind of leading into the World Championship in 2014.
So when's the World 2014?
2014, September, it'll be the weekend before this regatta that we typically have. So.
Good, cool.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anything else from any other citizens or staff or anything? Thank you. We're adjourned.